Alrighty then, welcome everybody to another awesome Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, Warzone 2, and DMZ video. I want to thank everybody for tuning in over on YouTube. You guys are absolutely awesome. I really do appreciate the support from my community. Thank you guys so much. So obviously, we got to get straight into it. Season 6, it's here. The Haunting is here. The season of The Haunting has come, and we've had the biggest update ever for DMZ. And I don't mean in content. I don't mean in weapons. I don't mean in events. I mean in one thing that has stuck true and has been a huge thing for us. 6-man squads are gone. That's right, you heard correct. 6-man squads are gone. Part of the blog notes were squads no longer will be up to 6-man in size. 4-man maximum, which means pleading and assimilation are still a thing in the game. However, you're only going to see 4-man squads at the most. You can't kill a squad and then pick all 3 up anymore. You can only pick 1 up. So at the end of the day, 6-manning is gone. Pre-made 6-mans, gone. It is probably the most wonderful thing they've done for us in quite some time. So I hope everybody's just as excited as I am about that. I know me and the guys are super excited to see all the changes coming that come along with that. Finally, some balanced, more fair gameplay. So let's slide right over to our battle pass though, because new season, new battle pass. That of course is a Black Cell battle pass, and this is the Halloween themed Spawn crossover battle pass. Of course, we've got Al Simmons, all new operator for Spawn. You gotta love it. If you know the Spawn franchise, then you know Creepy Clown. It's a Fender skin. I think they did a great job on it, personally. We've got Soul Crusher over here for Mila. It's looking pretty good. And of course, Disruptor. Again, I think they've done pretty well with that. We slide over, we see Mill Spawn. So very tactical, decked out Spawn. He's looking good in my opinion. I think they did really well with that. And everybody's gonna love this one, even if you're not a Spawn fan. I'm sure out there people are Groot fans. We've got Gaia. Not quite the same as Groot, but you know what? It's close enough for Groot lovers out there, all our Marvel, Guardians of the Galaxy fans. They did a good job. I think that looks awesome. Of course, if you buy the Black Cell Battle Pass right off the bat, you get this all-new sexy AF skin for Valeria. Just damn. They did a really good job with that skin, I think. It's looking good. She is smoking hot. Then, of course, we got the Violator. Another Spawn crossover character. This Battle Pass is just filled with them. Come down here, we got the Nikto version of Spawn. That one's not too bad. I think they could have done better on that one, but it still looks pretty good. And of course, Burned Out Spawn. If you know the Spawn franchise, you know what this is related to. Absolutely wonderful. I think they did a good job there. I like the green accents, the green smoky eyes. It's looking feisty. But of course, everybody's wondering, what happens when you max out a Black Cell Battle Pass? You get that special reward. Original Spawn with a slightly military twist. You gotta love those shotgun shells on the 2 bandoliers across his chest, but that's looking good. I really think, they hit the nail on the head with their skins this season. The fact that they did an entire battle pass of crossover skins for the Spawn franchise is just awesome. But of course, that's not it. Everybody wants to know, what about these new weapons? Let's start with the TR-76 Geist. And this one here, it's a bullpup assault rifle. Overall, it looks a lot like an AUG. It looks to be like a decent weapon. You're going to see in my stream later today. We'll be messing around with it, checking it out, seeing just how good it really is. It looks fun though. I mean, but then again, they haven't really disappointed. Every battle pass weapon does seem to come up OP when it first drops. And of course, now we've got the ISO 9mm, which of course it's going to do less damage than the 45, but it's going to have a faster fire rate and it's going to have way less recoil than the ISO 45. So we may have a new meta SMG here. Definitely something that we're going to take it for a test run today, check out, see how it's going. And the new melee weapon, dual commas. Just ouch at its finest. It truly, truly is ouch at its finest. Can't go wrong with dual commas. I'm glad that they added this in, especially with the spawn crossover. It just feels right. Now, there's been leaks, a lot of people talking about the new event that's coming. The new event's going to be a huge deal, of course. And in 19 days, as of today, September 27th, we're getting The Haunting. Huge, huge, huge event. Probably the biggest event they've ever done in Warzone and DMZ. And in this case, obviously, we push the DMZ very heavy on this channel. We love DMZ, and there's going to be a lot of DMZ-centered challenges around it. But of course, a lot of people are thinking, well, what's some of the good rewards? And there's been some leaks, and a lot of people are talking about the new bundles that are going to be coming out for operators. Well, one of the rewards for the event, like the big reward, is going to be a new melee weapon, the chainsaw. So a lot of people are excited for that. Moving forward to, throughout the season, we're going to get some absolutely awesome bundles. As well as new game modes, changes to the map. We're going to see the Haunting of Al-Mazrah. We're going to see Von Dead. We're going to see night missions coming. All kinds of very interesting and exciting challenges. And of course, Modern Warfare 2 is going to be getting new game modes for core gaming, 2 gunfight maps, 2 full reskins of Haunting-inspired reskins for Modern Warfare 2's multiplayer. And let's see, we're also going to be seeing awesome bundles dropping throughout the season. And these bundles are going to include Ash. Now, if you're an Evil Dead fan and you know Ash is the guy with the chainsaw attached to his arm. And that's where our chainsaw reward is coming from this season. It's going to be very interesting. I'm sure they're going to have some sort of bundle that's associated with the chainsaw. They'll probably have more than one. And I'm sure that it's going to come with the... I'm sure it'll be coming with the Ash Williams bundle. So, not just that, if you're fans of Diablo 4, the Diablo franchise in general, Inarius and Lilith are coming to the game. They're coming to Warzone, they're coming to DMZ as operators. It's going to be a huge crossover event between Activision Blizzard's Diablo 4 and, of course, Activision's Call of Duty. So, definitely excited to see what these operators are going to look like once they're flushed out and actually in the game. And if you like those old school cartoons, or you're a follower of a lot of modern day memes, Skeletor, the Overlord of Evil, will be coming to Modern Warfare 2. Absolutely awesome looking skin. I think they did a great job on it. You can see the teaser over on the Call of Duty blog for what it looks like. And then, everybody's happy. If you're familiar with Helsing, then you're very familiar with Alucard. And Alucard will be coming as a bundle in the game as well. There's also going to be a Tracer Pack, slight crossover, mini crossover, we'll call it, with Doom. That will bring us a Tracer Pack and skin for the chainsaw. That is Doom related, so if you're a fan of the Doom franchise, that's definitely going to be a big deal. Now, as of yesterday, the max level in the game was, of course, 1,050. lots of people said, Prestige 21, how far are they going to go? Are we going to see major changes coming into Modern Warfare 3? And we still don't know the details about how the leveling and progression system is going to work in Modern Warfare 3. What we do know is that they're going to give us the opportunity during Season 6 to go all the way to Prestige 25, or level 1,250. So people like me that are sitting at max level, we finally have some more progression to do, which obviously is going to be a big deal for a lot of people. So, real quick before we go, we're going to touch on a little bit of the changes being made to weapons and things of that sort in the game. A lot of people have been talking about, what's getting nerfed, what's getting buffed, are we looking at new metas, etc. And, realistically, there's always changes. So we're going to start right off the bat. Shotguns. The Lockwood 300 is getting an all-new attachment. It's the only weapon getting a new attachment so far. Again, that's the Lockwood 300, and it's getting the Maelstrom dual trigger. It's a cold hammer forged dual trigger that fires both rounds simultaneously with devastating results. That's a possible insta-down at close range. Remember, the Lockwood 300 is the double barrel. It's an absolute beast of a shotgun against bots in DMZ, and now it looks like it's finally going to be a competitor against players. The Lockman Shroud, everybody's hated SMG. I know I didn't like it. I didn't really hate it, but I didn't like it. I didn't think it was useful against players. It got nerfed into the ground. Reduced upper torso damage, reduced mid to far range damage, but it did get a minor increase in close to mid distance damage. So, I guess it's not really a nerf into the ground, but in my opinion it got nerfed even more, which my friends that play Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer definitely said that they're going to be liking that, because in multiplayer, my understanding was that it was overpowered. I don't play much multiplayer other than the occasional challenge and things of that sort, so it's good to hear that kind of feedback from people. The mini-bot got some buffs, increased close distance damage and increased damage range. The Kastov 762 had its close distance damage reduced, its close damage range reduced, and its mid damage range increased. So, the Kastov 762, in my opinion, previously it's been a very solid AR. But now it's definitely going to be a mid to long range AR like the M13B has been. The FR Avancer got a buff, which I don't fully understand, because I personally think the weapon was, extremely solid and probably could have used a nerf. But they buffed it and gave it increased damage range. Our battle rifles have changed around a little bit. The Cronin Squall actually got a little bit of a buff, increased to damage range. I don't know if that's going to be enough to bring it back into a competitive standing, but it's definitely going to be hopefully a competitor again. The Lockman 762 has had its damage range increased, so it's going to hit a little better at range. The SO14 has had its damage range increased, which is definitely exciting because I know a lot of people have been running the SO14, slapping a drum mag on it, putting it on full auto, and using it like an AR. The TAC V got a little bit of a buff. It's another one that I'm not so sure if it's going to become a competitor again, but it did have its damage range increased. Shotgun saw a little bit of a rework this season with the Bryson 800, reduced long-range damage range. The Expedite 12 got its mid-damage range increased, and the MX Guardian got a nerf. Its close-range damage was reduced. The Marksman rifles seem to have gotten a significant swap around this season. The Tempest Torrent got a reduced close damage range, reduced close distance damage, and reduced damage to the legs. Tempest Torrent already, in my opinion, wasn't a very viable option, but now it really isn't. The Lockwood Mark II, or a little lever action, a little 30-30 lever action, increased mid-damage range, increased close distance damage, increased damage to the upper arms, improved sprint out time, and increased hip movement speed. So it definitely got some much-needed buffs. I'm going to mess around with that at some point, see how it's feeling now, but it has definitely needed it. The SAB-50 has had its improved sprint out time, improved ADS time, reduced moving hip spread, increased far damage range. Now this, of course, is going to be one of those things that absolutely aggravates people that consistently run into this weapon in Warzone or multiplayer. This weapon in Warzone and multiplayer is a quick scoper's dream, 2-shot down. And with these buffs, it's definitely going to remain a meta contender. The SPR-208 also got an increase to its mid-damage range. Now, ARs have seen a lot of changes. The Chimera had its lower torso damage multiplier increased. The FR Avancer had its limb damage multipliers increased. The Hemlock finally got some more nerfs. Its neck damage multiplier decreased, and its upper torso damage multiplier decreased. The Kastov 762 had its close damage decreased, its close damage range increased, its head damage multiplier decreased, its neck damage multiplier decreased, and its upper torso damage multiplier decreased, which to me sounds like a nerf into the ground. So we'll see how it runs. The M13B, my favorite, has had its close damage decreased, its close damage range decreased, its close to mid damage decreased, and its mid damage decreased. Nerfs across the board on my favorite gun in the game. But these are all close to mid nerfs. I run it as a mid to long weapon, so that's perfect. It's still going to hopefully hit the same way that it has been in the past for me, because I don't really like running at super close range anyway. The M13C had its close damage increased and its lower limb damage multipliers increased. So just as we said last season when we got the M13C, it was going to be a very interesting looking SMG that they say is an AR. They've definitely made it even more so an SMG. The M16, which I don't see why they keep messing around with this weapon, close damage range has been increased, and the lower torso damage multipliers were increased. Its limb damage multipliers were also increased, so it once again has gotten buffs across the board. I'll be entirely honest, I still don't really see this weapon making a big comeback in Warzone and DMZ. It's a multiplayer weapon, yes, but unfortunately, I still don't think this is even going to be enough to make the changes needed. Battle rifles have seen a decent amount of changes as well, with the Cronin Squall receiving a mid-damage range decrease. The F-TAC Recon has received a neck damage multiplier increase, torso damage multipliers increased, and limb damage multiplier increase. That'll be interesting to try out. I'm definitely a fan of the F-TAC Recon purely because it feels good. But unfortunately, it just, with its small mag capacity, I think its max mag is 15 rounds, it's very hard to be in a sustained fight, especially close quarters with more than one enemy. The Lockman 762 received a close damage range increase, neck damage multiplier increased, torso damage multiplier increased, and the limb damage multiplier increase. The TAC V received close damage increases, close damage range increased, and close mid damage range increase, and the SO14 received a close damage range increase, close to mid damage range increase, a mid damage range increase, and a far damage increase. So the SO14 got massive buffs. And then when we slide into our handguns, we're seeing significant changes to handguns. The 50 caliber GS got its close damage increased, its mid damage increased, and its far damage increased. The 9mm Demon got its neck damage multiplier decreased, torso damage multipliers decreased, and arm damage multipliers decreased. The X12 got its close to mid damage increased, neck damage multiplier increased, torso damage multipliers increased, and its lower limb damage multipliers increased. The P890, my favorite little 45, Got its mid damage increased, its far damage increased, lower torso damage multiplier increased, and its limb multipliers increased. That is awesome for me, because I'll definitely be running the P890. I've been running it a lot, and I'll continue to do so even more so now, because it's just that much more solid now, by the sounds of these buffs. The GS Magna got a close damage decrease, a close to mid damage increase. Its upper torso damage multiplier was decreased, as well as its limb damage multiplier was also decreased. The Basilisk got a close to mid damage increase. The mid damage was increased, and its mid to far damage was increased. Its far damage was also increased. So essentially, it's an across the board buff for the Basilisk. And finally, on the handguns section, the F-Tac Siege, everybody's favorite water weapon, had a decrease to its head damage multiplier and a decrease to its lower torso damage multiplier. So definitely some nerfs on that bad boy right there. When we slide over and take a look at sniper rifles, we are looking at the Karak 300. Got damage increases across the board to its close and mid damage, its far damage, its lower torso damage, and its limb damage. A weapon definitely needed it. It's a DMR, not a sniper. They got that wrong. The Signal 50 got nerfed with neck damage multiplier and its upper torso damage multiplier both being decreased. The SPX 80, the oops, I'm gonna have to use a sniper weapon, got the close range damage increased, its close to mid was increased, its mid range damage was increased, and its upper torso damage was increased. So they're starting to inch the SPX 80 back into a good contender. When we look at SMGs, overall number of changes, we've got the Bass P getting a neck damage multiplier, torso damage multiplier, and limb damage multipliers all increased. The Fennec 45 got buffs and nerfs. Close damage was increased, close to mid was increased, its head damage multiplier was increased, but neck damage and upper torso damage multipliers were both decreased. The Minibot got a mid damage increase, the MX9 got a neck damage multiplier increase, a torso damage multiplier increase, and of course its limb damage multipliers were also increased. The Lockman Shroud got its semi-auto damage decreased, its burst fire head damage multiplier was increased, its burst fire neck damage multiplier was increased, and its burst fire upper torso damage multiplier was increased. So they're trying, by the looks of this, to get it up to a point where it's usable in DMZ and Warzone. Do I really think it's going to be? No. To be entirely honest, no. They also fixed an issue causing the stat bars to occasionally display incorrect information when comparing weapons or attachments. They fixed an issue with the Lockwood 300 that would cause it to deal inconsistent headshot damage, and they fixed an issue with some KV broadside and MX Guardian barrel attachments where they were not offering the correct stats. So overall, they've got massive changes that have been made, huge list of bug fixes. The most interesting of the which were fixed an issue where the AI gun screens would not function correctly on secondary weapons. Fixed an issue where music was fading out unintentionally between gunfights. Fixed some screen refresh rate issues, increased FPS issues. Fixed an exploit that allowed weapon blueprint duplication. Fixed an issue preventing players from navigating the play again options using the left thumbstick on controllers. A lot of little fixes, nothing too insane. They reduced the amount of damage helicopters take from shock sticks. And they fixed an issue allowing dirt bike collision with water to not function as intended. So overall, we've had massive, massive changes that have come into the weapons in the game. We've got a huge amount of absolutely awesome skins coming in. Not just with this battle pass, but upcoming in bundles. Now, of course, DMZ players are still sitting here thinking, well, what about DMZ? In this first half of the season, what has really changed? Other than 6-man squads going away, that's it. We did not get any new missions. We did not get a new faction. And we got no new missions. No new upgrades as well. Scroll through the upgrades board. It doesn't look like we got any new upgrades. They have fixed the weekly urgent mission requirements, though. So that's definitely a positive, too. Those extract options do count. Other than that, we haven't gotten anything really that is new specifically to DMZ, but we are, of course, seeing with Season 6 Reloaded, we're going to be seeing a massive change coming there, which I know a lot of us are very excited for. The Halloween event is upon us. We're going to be rocking and rolling, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Definitely interested to see what Modern Warfare 3 is going to be bringing us. But overall, I hope that this video has been helpful. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I know we ran a little longer than we intended, but we went over huge updates. Remember, too, that this is a almost 60 gig update for some people. So if you haven't already started your update, make sure you slap that update going as soon as you can. That way you can get into your game as soon as possible and enjoy the freedom of no more 6-man squads. We're super happy, super excited. Thank you, Activision. Thank you so much for removing 6-man squads. I know I speak for a huge portion of the community that is very glad to see that. But overall, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please remember to hit that like button, smash the subscribe, ring the bell for notifications. I've got all kinds of new content across multiple games coming out every single day except for Sunday, and live streams every day. So thank you guys so much, and I'll catch y'all on the flip side.